Many of us like to relax and unwind with great music, and that's where we have the likes of Tiwa Savage, Waje, Whiskey, Davido coming. I know they have a myriad of fans locally and internationally, but there's some group of fans that are gradually overtaking all these internationally renowned entertainers. Let me give you an insight into what I'm talking about. For example, you enter an estate, maybe is 10 houses on that particular street, all closed, and at least 9 of them are playing that particular music. You go visit somebody in another part of town, perhaps on the same day or on a different day. 5 people in one compound, each house is listening to the same type of music. In fact, in some cases, some houses have more than one music system to entertain people that come. And it may also interest you to know that it is not by choice per se. It has become almost mandatory. Almost everyone in Nigeria is listening to this music, but perhaps the level of enjoyment differs. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the generator sets. Growing up, we used to hear about I better pass my neighbor. Now, all the neighbors are at power. Upper class, lower class, middle class, everyone enjoys the lyrics from the generator set. Welcome to Weekend Deal. Today we're talking about alternate sources of power supply in Nigeria. Last week we began the conversation. Today we continue. Generator sets, solar system, inverters. Which of them do you own? One or all 3? That will be our thrust on the program today. Also, you may also realize that the Oshu elections, talking about the gubernatorial elections, will be happening today. In fact, as we speak, everyone is on ground ready to cast their votes, and the NTA is hands-on as usual. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us to be a part of this program. As you know, our program is interactive. Tell us your experiences when we take off. You're watching Weekend Deal on the Nigerian Television Authority. We've taken off. We're talking about several things today. Alternate power supply, the Osun elections. But for now, we're taking a look at the energy market. And we have an expert in the house, an energy market expert. His name is Idris Ejima Aruwa.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Happy to be around.
I've heard about energy experts. I've heard about energy markets. I thought the energy experts was the expert of the energy market as well. But today I hear about that is a difference between energy market expert and energy expert.
Yeah.
But when we start to listen to you talk, we'll get to know exactly what the difference is, if at all it is relevant. But welcome you to Weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're talking about the current status of the Port Harcourt refinery, and a lot of money has been expended there. In fact, in billions, millions of dollars. What is happening at this time?
Yes, the Port Harcourt refinery, there are 2 refineries, the old refinery and the new refinery. But eventually the 2 of them came on board finally in 1989, and after more than 30 years of mismanagement lack of maintenance of this refinery. By the time this administration was coming on board, the refinery was moribund. So the administration of Muhammadu Buhari decided to focus on getting the refinery back to its optimum production capacity of combined 2,000 and 10,000 barrels per day, because the two refinery, the old one has 60,000 barrel capacity, while the new one has 150,000 barrel per day capacity. Now, in doing this, the NNPC, under the leadership of Mr. Mele Kyari, decided to take a different approach from what has been done in the past, which was the turnaround maintenance, where billions of nairas and dollars were pumped into oil refinery rehabilitations in the turnaround maintenance, and nothing came out of it. So this time, they approached the rehabilitation and reconstruction of this refinery through equity contribution and a loan from the Afrexim Bank, Cairo in Egypt, and they ensure that the bank, being a private entity with an investment interest, is involved in the entire process of the rehabilitation, from from procurement, appointment of the contractors. The contract extends to the operation of the refinery and up to the future maintenance of the refinery.
When was this contract actualized? And what is the duration?
Now, the duration for this contract is to terminate finally. The timeline is about 2024. But for now, what they did was to make the payments for the refinery construction to be based on project delivery. The refinery rehabilitation is divided into 4 phases. The phase 1 is the rehabilitation and construction of the old refinery, and that rehabilitation is supposed to have been completed by this year. At least by this year, we expect the refinery, the old refinery, to produce 90% of its capacity, which is 44,000 barrels per day. And the phase 2 and 3, which by God's grace, within the timeline, should be completed by next year, which is, by 2024, will bring the entire production to at least 90% of the cumulative capacity, which is about 189,000 barrels per day.
How realistic is this based on what you have on ground now? I guess you are monitoring the contractual agreement as well as the reality on ground over there.
Yes.
What do we have on ground now? How ready, how close are we to your expectations?
Yeah, for instance, any moment from now, the old refinery will come fully on board and production will start at least 90%.
Any moment from now is tomorrow?
Any moment from now is tomorrow. Serious, as in tomorrow. Now, the whole project, because you have a private investor who has interest in recouping his resources,
yes,
you understand, is deeply involved in every stage. You understand? If the project is not delivered, there will be no payment, and the contractor will be eager to get payment. So the project is moving within the timeline.
We like what we're hearing. Yeah. We've heard many nice things in the past. You know, we're used to hearing lots of interesting, nice, smiling speeches and talk, and it's our hope that this time it will pan out just like you're saying.
This is a reality. It's something that your station can go down there and verify. It's happening physically on ground. It's not a hidden project. You can approach each of the players
and get to know the reality on ground. That's interesting. It's a welcome development indeed. There is the need for energy worldwide now, based on what's happening, on the international platform. Perhaps Nigerians would like to know what extra measures are we taking as a country to be an active participant in the provision of energy?
Yeah, first of all, we are looking at the NNPC goal as a whole. For instance, the NNPC has set a target of 2026 to provide energy sufficiency for Nigeria. And what does that mean? By 2026, the NNPC goal is to achieve a zero dependency on refined oil importation and become a net exporter of refined oil. And how is NNPC doing this? NNPC is not just focusing on reconstructing its own refinery, like what's happening in Port Harcourt now. The similar project being planned for Warri Refinery, similar project being planned for Kana Refinery. But they're not waiting for all that. NNPC is investing in private sector refinery. And the management of NNPC came out...
How many of those ones do we have? Private
sector now, for instance, they came out with a strategy. What the strategy, for instance now, in Port Harcourt Refinery Complex, for instance, there's a new refinery coming up within the complex, which is privately owned, the African Petroleum Port Harcourt Limited, with a capacity of 100,000 barrels per day production, using the same crude oil delivery facility that is serving the Port Harcourt Refinery. Now, with this, NNPC has invested 10% into that particular African Petroleum Port Harcourt Limited refinery. NNPC has also invested $1 billion to take 20% stake in Dangote Refinery. NNPC, hopefully, is looking at Abuja Refinery.
But is NNPC not overextending itself?
No, NNPC, under the new law, under the Petroleum Industry Act, is supposed to be an independent entity that is free to transact, to go into partnership with different
we agree with that freedom to make partnership. We were talking about being overextended.
No.
They are not?
No.
Okay, you talked about 2026.
Yeah.
Perhaps some Nigerians may opine that 36 months is too long. We've been working assiduously and hoping assiduously for decades.
These projects...
And you are taking us even further again.
These projects had failed with the previous government over the 44 years of existence of NNPC. For instance, let me tell you the signs that NNPC is working. In 2021, NNPC declared a profit of 287 billion naira for the first time in its 44 years of existence.
For the first time?
Yes. All they've been declaring is losses. Today in Nigeria, NNPC is the highest tax-paying company in Nigeria. And apart from that, all NNPC partners are among the top 10 highest tax-paying.
So they are working.
NNPC is coming up under the new management. NNPC is coming up under the new law, the Petroleum Industry Act. So the NNPC is not the NNPC you used to know. There's a total reorganization, there's a total restructuring, and so that's why these things are reality and they are timeline based. Moreover, NNPC is also embarking on the gas revolution, which this government, the predominant government, has put in place and have started for the past 5 years, bringing in gas as a transition energy to support PMS, which is petrol, DPK, kerosene, and AGO, which is diesel, to support these as energy sources for Nigeria. And all these projects have a timeline of 2024. So energy also have 2 years after that to achieve the energy sufficiency. Okay.
We'll take your word that a lot is ongoing. And I like what you said about for the first time in a long time, you know, Nigerians will always remain hopeful. Take us through the spectacular happening in July. Is there something going to happen in July? Are you going to share it with us?
Yeah. On July 19, 2022, the President Muhammadu Buhari, will formally unveil the NNPC as NNPC Limited, which means NNPC is now a corporate entity, a limited liability company free from all the bureaucracy of government control, an independent company, a commercially oriented company, a company that is profit driven and accountable. The NNPC will now start operating under the Corporate and Allied Matters Act of 2020. And already under the Corporate and Allied Matters Act, there are what do you call it? There are guidelines for corporate governance, increased transparency, increased transparency in the governance of the NNPC. Now, what is beautiful about this is government interference, especially from the National Assembly,
limited or non-existent.
Is virtually non-existent. It's no longer necessary, especially when you talk of the National Assembly, where you have several committees on petroleum matters.
No more. They can only visit and hear the good news.
Good news.
But finally, we need to wrap up quickly. Tell me what the Nigerian on the street is going to take away from what you're saying.
What the Nigerian on the street is going to take away is, one, there should be end to petroleum subsidy, where trillions, like for this year, the projection is 4 trillion naira for subsidy payment. If we become energy sufficient, what will happen is this money will be pulled back into developing the economy.
There'll be no scarcity again.
No scarcity. 2,
no subsidy, no scarcity. Great news.
Yeah, no subsidy,
no scarcity. I think Nigerians are quite happy to hear that. We want to thank you, Idris Ejima Aruwa, energy markets expert, for coming to enlighten us today. Good news all the way. We like to hear that. And we now wait patiently for the great news you have shared
these
to
news are
be unveiled.
Verifiable, and by July 19, 2022,
4 days time,
NNPC will be a different NNPC. This will be a game changer for the oil and gas industry for Nigeria. This is a game changer for the Nigerian economy. This will be a game changer for the small and middle scale enterprises and job creation.
Interesting. We like all the game-changing behaviors and methodology of what you're sharing with us today. Thank you. And please keep us abreast of what's ongoing as time goes on. You're watching Weekend Deal. It's time to go to Francis. Francis has been working to bring us accurate and authentic information about alternate power supply in Nigeria. Francis, take it from here.
Last week on Weekend Deal, our focus was on the challenges of energy supply in Nigeria. Today, Weekend Deal takes the discussion further as it beams our searchlight on the place of renewable energy in Nigeria.
We're not maximizing as we ought to. There is increase in solar plants in Nigeria, but the problem is that none of them is in the grid. None of them has been able to develop and fight the grid. We know that some people are using solar systems in their homes, but those are just makeshift, just standby in case for a few hours there's no light. We want to see more hydro, small hydro, solar, biofuel, and all sorts of wind energy and others. The way most countries have traveled, especially in Europe, has been that government has provided a lot of incentive, financial, to developers, oftentimes subsidizing, because the price used to be very far higher than conventional energy. But now with improvement in technology, the prices are dropping. So it's not as expensive, but they're still expensive. Secondly, Nigeria has 2 good instruments. We have the feed-in tariff for renewable energy, which we did as chairman of NEC. We also have the Nigerian energy efficiency and renewable energy policy that's well articulated now. So what remains is to follow that up with very strong fiscal incentives to producers, to also improve the regulatory framework to allow mixing of conventional energy with renewable energy.
Nigeria receives huge amount of solar radiation, has abundant wind energy resources, as well as enormous power resources from Niger and Benue rivers. However, of these, 80% of hydropower remains untapped. The total 5.5 kilowatt of solar radiation is not utilized, and wind energy resources remain unexploited.
state governor can work hard to make sure that his state has better power delivery. If he has transactions with the disco in that area to say, look, I'm going to give you 50 megawatts from solar. I want it to be dropped and distributed in my state capital. So you improve power. Again, we have also the need for renewable energy and off-grid solutions. So people have argued that the benchmark in the law, in the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, about 1 megawatts, should be expanded so that people may not need any license to generate up to 5 megawatts, so that you decentralize power. Communities can generate solar from biofuel, everything. You just control for safety and technical regulation.
Since the rural areas are far from the electricity grid and most currently do not have power, then the possibility of employing solar energy for the supply of electricity to the rural communities cannot be overemphasized.
There's a greater use of renewable energy in the north, and the north can be energy efficient or sufficient rather if a lot of focus goes to solar. You have higher sun radiation than Germany or any part of Europe in the northern Nigeria, and these countries now are almost like 80%. But for the impact of the Ukraine war, now that Germany is starting to coal, they were almost getting most of their energy from the sun. And so the argument has been that northern Nigeria is well situated to become, maybe a net exporter of electricity to southern Nigeria through investment in solar and other renewable, particularly solar energy. I already did it in Arena Market, Aba, which they did with their, off-grid solution. But apparently because it's attractive, that's where the guys they gave it to make money. So it's like a PPP. The private person does it, and Arena is commercially viable, make money. But they should do the same thing in Guzo, in Zungeru, in Ngobala, in different parts of the world, in Adekiti, wherever there are communities that are not on the grid. So it's the responsibility of the Rural Efficiency Agency. The question is, how well are they doing it? How much resources do they have, and how much innovation do they have?
Despite the different strategies of reform embarked on by government, the energy sector is still not efficient or reliable. Where is the place of smart grid technology?
Larger renewable energy will require smarter grids. Smarter grids is where the world is moving. And so Nigerians have enough strong innovators, IT gurus. So what needs now is maybe a policy to help push them to innovate and improve the grid to become smart so that those grids can run more efficiently on renewable energy. What a smart grid does, like in some part of Europe, is that even consumers themselves can sell power to the grid. So, for example, in some part of the world, you have your solar panel in your roof. Maybe you generate more than you can use, and you sell to the disco. They pay you. They use that power to give other people. So when the weather is not good, they don't have enough radiation, they sell power to. So people are doing. So that exchange is going on. Consumers produce and sell to the grid. The grid sell back to them when they need it. So and those work because you have smart grid that enables that kind of transaction. So that's the future where we're going, and hopefully we'll get there.
Our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on renewable energy as panacea for sustainable development.
Interesting developments there, Francis. We are enlightened, and we continue to unveil further discoveries in different parts of Nigeria, including the FCT. Now, it's time to go to Jos. Jos is going to be talking about alternate sources of supply. Jos, what did you find? Please share with us.
In Plateau State, some business owners have resorted to using alternative source of power supply just to stay in business.
The per capita consumption of electricity in Nigeria is very low. That is to say, if you look at what an individual is consuming presently compared to other citizens of maybe a South Africa or a Ghana or an Egypt, you would say yes, Nigeria is low.
Yeah, basically we use electricity like NEPA and sometimes NESCO, but where we are now we use NEPA generally. But with kind of electric power supply, we find it difficult to be 24 hours on NEPA. So what we do is that we have to supplement with generator.
Well, my source of power is solar. I use it because it is uninterruptedly stable. And to me, it's more economical and more assuring.
Okay.
In the end, it's going to be cheaper instead of depending on the public system that hardly does well.
In Nigeria, you have to do it. You have to look for alternatives. Why? Because the national grid is not everywhere. There are unreached communities, and there are unserved communities, and there are underserved community. And in fact, I tell people, I say, as far as Nigerian power supply is concerned, every community is underserved.
Apart from Jos Electricity Distribution Company, JET, and solar energy that supplies power in Jos Metropolis, a lot of residents and business owners enjoy power supply from National Electricity Supply Company, NESCO, which was established in 1929 and was the sole provider of energy to mining operations in Benue Plateau region.
NESCO is an electricity utility company which was licensed by the federal government of Nigeria in about 1929 to generate electricity and supply electricity, sell electricity to the mines field. In the 1920s, late 20s, mining was a very key economic factor in Nigeria. So NESCO supplied all the power for that. So I believe that is where the impact was quite heavy. But subsequently, NESCO, up to the present time, has been supplying electricity to industries in Plateau State now. NESCO used to supply up to what is Nasarawa State now, Lafia, Keffi, all that axis, and the southern part of Kaduna. NESCO used to supply electricity, and at the time also supplied to some parts in Bauchi State. So economically, yes, I would say NESCO has impacted heavily on the economy of Plateau State.
Okay, I use NESCO Light because it's more efficient, more than NEPA.
Uninterrupted power supply of electricity is as essential as life itself.
Thank you, Jos. It was quite interesting to learn what's happening there. Very pleasant town and warm people over there. Yes, alternate power supply is being used in many parts of Nigeria in safe and secure ways to provide energy and electricity for Nigerians. We are talking further, and that's how we get to meet the Chief Executive Officer and the Chairman of the Nigerian Atomic Energy Commission, Yusuf Ahmed.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you very much.
When we hear Atomic Energy Commission, what ought our thoughts to be? It can't be bombs, can it? No.
Yes, thank you very much. I think the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission was set up by Act 46 of 1976 and activated in 2006 solely for the promotion and development of nuclear science and technology in Nigeria. And in the development of nuclear science and technology in Nigeria, our mandate is peaceful applications. And so the issue of atomic bomb or whatever did not arise because the mandate is peaceful application. Don't forget that Nigeria has signed Non-Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, has signed Pelendaba Treaty, has signed so many treaties for the peaceful applications of nuclear science and technology. So our commission is an agency of government that was mandated to promote those applications. And applications of nuclear science and technology cut across many spheres. The peaceful application has application in the health and nutrition. It has applications in agriculture. It has applications in water resources, environment, and so on and so. In fact, even in the industry. Now, if you look at it in the industry, one aspect you can do in the industry is material testing, but also you can generate electricity. So there are two components we call in our own nuclear sphere is non-power applications and power applications. So if you go into power applications where you generate electricity from nuclear power plants, it is what our topic today is discussing, and I think Nigeria is a little bit slow in that aspect. All over the country, all developed countries today, if you look at them, they have nuclear power in their mix. Why? Because of the inherent advantages of nuclear power. You cannot talk about what the carbon emissions of the fossil fuels, which now the whole over world they are talking about green energy, clean energy, and all these kind of energies.
That's eradicating the emissions of
carbon. Yes, greenhouse effect. So I think nuclear is one aspect that many people look at it. But again, if you look at also in the developmental strategies of the developed countries, they have what we call energy basket. You cannot just rely on one source of energy and then expect it not to have challenges. If you look at in Nigeria today, most of our dependence is on thermal and hydro. Thermal meaning using the gas.
Where else we ought to be looking?
Yes, using gas, and then also hydro using water resources. Now, what are the challenges of those areas? For the gas supply is through pipelines and other things, and the vandalization of pipelines shows us that the gas stations are not getting the required gas to be able to fire electricity.
So where do we go from here?
So what I think is that we need to start thinking out of the basket. Renewable energies like solar, wind is an option, but the problem of solar and wind energy, if you look at it very carefully, the load, it doesn't have a base load. You cannot be able to have an industry relying on solar energy or wind energy. There is no much that capacity to generate to for instance, if you say the whole industries that are in Abuja or Lagos can depend on solar or wind, then that cannot work. So I think those renewables are very good for domestic use, electricity
or
generation
small
for
businesses.
Yes, or small businesses. But for nuclear, you can generate megawatts, thousands of megawatts of electricity from one power plant, and that one power plant located in one area can be able to take care of the entire region. So I think we can come to discussions of how we miss it in Nigeria when we try to centralize our electricity generation, our electricity transmission, and our electricity distribution. I think these are areas that one can focus on, and I feel, to my understanding, I think our national grid need to be upgraded, and our national grid need to not only be upgraded, also need to be looked into seriously. I think there is need for us to start thinking regionally, regional generations, and also we have small mini grids and off-grid generation. Today in the world we have what we call small and modular reactors. Those ones can be in a location whereby you remote areas,
It's like, for many of us, much of this information is coming for the very first time. And Nigerians are watching us to learn and to latch on to what they can benefit and how it can change the status quo.
Yes.
Now we are learning that solar can go big. Solar is better for small and manageable. But if you want to go big, go nuclear. We'll come back to that nuclear plan in just a minute. But for now, let's go to Lagos Network Center. And their focal point is on renewable energy systems in Sura Market. A very interesting place to visit. Let's see what they found.
A trip to Sura Market reveals that the initiative of the federal government to allow the private sector to take charge in power sector by providing off-grid electricity to micro, small and medium enterprises within economic cluster such as markets, shopping complexes, is yielding results in the area.
Sura Power Limited was commissioned in October 2018, by the Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, and for over 3 years, 8 months now, they've been enjoying stable and uninterrupted power supply inside the complex. And for the way the complex is, we have over 1,000 customers that is benefiting from this power, and they are all small and medium scale enterprises. So, and it has been like a more of profit to them because they've been having stable power. They don't have issues with generators, servicing of generators, buying of fuel and diesel. So life has been more convenient for them, and as a result of that, profitability and business upgrade has always been occurring to the small-scale customers we have inside the complex.
Sura Power Plant is situated in Lagos Island to give clean, safe and reliable energy at the popular Sura market and environs. Are the people really benefiting from the power plant?
Yes, it has before, but not anymore. It's not funny anymore at all because we need light. When I said light, we need like 24 hours light here because we have a lot of things to preserve, chicken, spring rolls, samosa and stuff like that. And without light, we can't actually do anything. We can't stock in our stuff. We have to buy little by little, which is not okay for the business.
But before now?
Before now, it's actually good. It was nice. We were enjoying it. We were happy that at least in Nigeria we can have something like this. It's quite nice, but recently we are not enjoying it at all.
What were the reasons? What did they give us reasons?
I think they said there was a time they said they want to increase the tariff. There was a time they said they want to increase the tariff, but recently I think they said gas or so. I'm not sure. But they said gas, something like gas, that gas, the exhaust is gas, they've not given them another gas and stuff like that.
Has it affected your customers?
Yes, it has, because we have eatery here that people can sit and eat. Because there's no light, they can't come in, they'll be saying, there is heat, we don't have lights, we don't have this, we don't have that. And it's really affecting. If they want to buy more than 2, more than 3, 5, they can't.
Initially, when it came in, we benefited for about 2, 3, 4 years, until recently that we began to have a downturn on light stability. And for the past, I think that's the beginning of this year, it has not been well with when it comes to light, and it has made people to stay away from coming to their offices.
So we've been enjoying it for at least 3.5 to 4 years. And it's been fantastic up until recently when gas had been an issue. It's been going on and off, but it hasn't been like that in the past, but it's like that now.
What are the challenges and prospects of Sura Power Plant?
For over 3 years that we've been operating the complex, the downtime we have is around, let's say, if you calculate the all downtime should be around maybe 54 hours. But right now, since March till now, the downtime we have is up to like 2 weeks. For like 2 weeks, we've had a situation for like 2 weeks, there was no gas. And we could not power the complex because we could not get gas. So, and diesel rate now is something, when we started in 2018, diesel rate was 200 naira per litre. Now diesel rate is 800 naira per litre. We can power the complex with diesel, but we don't want the tariff of the customers to be too high.
Electricity consumption can provide economic growth and enhance productivity.
Lagos Network Center, quite interesting, in-depth. We have a better understanding of the happenings at Sura Market. Everyone needs some level of electricity to grow their business and to ensure that it reaches the consumers who desire it. Before we went to Lagos, we were having a chat with Yusuf Ahmed, the chairman, CEO of the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission. There's talk about a nuclear power plant. Tell us about that.
Yes, thank you very much. One thing we have done in the commission is to advise government on the need to have an energy basket that can support all the facets of our economy. The need for the energy basket come up when we realize that the seasonal variations and the climate change is affecting our hydro plants. We also realize the vandalization of our pipelines are also affecting our supply of gas to our power stations, and thereby you find out that even if Nigeria happens to have an abundance of gas, but yet we could not be able to generate electricity from that because of the security issues we have on ground. Now, a nuclear power plant is a plant that if you build it, initial cost is very expensive actually, but over a period of 60 to 80 years, you can be running this power plant.
60 to 80 or 6
years.
to 8?
60 to 80 years. You can be running a power plant without any much input or maintenance challenges, and it is in one location. You now safeguard it, secure it, and it will be supplying electricity to many places.
For the world or just for the country?
For the country, not for the world. But there are also what we call putting units, multiple units in one place. If you look at what UAE did, they have put 2 to 4 units of their own nuclear power plants in one place and secure them, and each unit is giving you 1,200 megawatts of electricity. You can imagine if you put 4 of them in one place, you get up to 4,800 megawatts of electricity.
Are you trying to replicate that in Nigeria?
Yes, and this is what Nigeria is totally. All the plants we have, total plants we have in Nigeria today, this is what they are generating. Imagine we have like 6 generating plants now, about 4 of them thermal, 3 of them hydro, 4 or 5 of them thermal. But all of them put together today, they are not giving us up to 5 megawatts of electricity. 5,000 megawatts of electricity. I agree there are challenges of transmission, but also there are challenges of generation. And I think the major thing we need to focus on today is how can we improve our generation? How can we now unbundle the transmission system?
So tell us. This it sounds quite interesting, the benefits we'll get from that plan. So how soon will we actualize those benefits so that we can have many sides of relief? It's not one side, it's a collective side.
Yes, I think it's a commitment of government. We have to appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari for his interest in improving electricity in this country.
Definitely.
The story of generation of electricity, expanding the generation capacity of electricity, started way back during President Obasanjo and then into President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, what they tried to do that time, they have given us mandate that we should go into partnering with other countries, if international partners that we can be able to partner to be able to develop electricity from nuclear. And in that also you realize that President Muhammadu Buhari, when he went to COP26, he mentioned about, when they were talking about clean energy, he mentioned about the fact that Nigeria is considering nuclear as part of its way of energy transition from using the gas to
how
clean
close
energy.
Are we to that transition?
Now, because of the mandate the government gave us, we have signed a memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreement with some international partners. In the milestone for development of nuclear energy, there are stages. Now, if you take, for instance, infrastructural development that you require, there are about 19 of them. You have human capital development, you have safety, security, waste management, and all these. I want to inform you that we have gone into all these milestones. In fact, we have trained more than 40 people from different parts of the world using for their masters and PhD in nuclear science and technology.
40, not 40,000?
No, 40. And we still have about 25 of them outside there that are doing that. But then we realized that within a year, the turnout is not much. So we have now decided to do what we call in-house. And we have started partnering with some universities in Nigeria who have capacity and capability to train in the field of nuclear science, nuclear engineering. And those people coming back from foreign are coming back to our university universities and then try to train more in Nigeria. So our expectation is that annually we will develop not less than 1,000 Nigerians in the field of nuclear science and technology. This is a starting point.
Okay, let me take this message.
Yes.
Let me take this message from Bapa Zaria. He says, hello, Weekend Deal team. I think alternative source of energy using nuclear power is the best option.
Yes, I totally agree. Thank you, Bapa. I totally agree with you. It's the best option because if you look at the inherent advantages. Now, it doesn't depend on any season. 2, it doesn't depend on somebody busting our pipes because there is a supply to that plant. 3, the fuel supply system of nuclear powers are already stocked and are already available from the vendors. 4, the technological development of Nigeria through the systems that the nuclear power plants are going to bring, because you have to develop capacity, you have to also have some spare parts in-house which our industry will spring up. But the most important thing is the base load. It gives you huge energy from one plant that you can be able to power your industries and an environment.
Where is Nigeria now in terms of taking this good news and bringing it to reality in a way that it will impact electricity supply and provision for Nigerians? Are the plans already on ground?
Yes, thank you very much. The National Energy Policy has integrated nuclear as part of the plans for Nigeria to increase and expand its energy scope. Now, working on that national policy, we have some partners who have shown interest in coming to Nigeria to build these facilities, operate the facilities and recover their distance. But again, small challenges, I can call them small challenges, that came in when these partners wants to come in, has to do with the right pricing of the electricity, because definitely there are resistance from people on what are we going to pay for our electricity. And government try to just like what is happening in the oil industry now, government try to remove subsidy on electricity, and there are resistances from people that no, electricity should not go up, if you did not increase a little bit of the price of the electricity, and then you find that the return on investment will be very difficult, because there is a huge investment you need to put those power plants on the ground. But there are options. There are modular, small and modular reactors, nuclear reactors, which are compact and very not so expensive, which can also be located in remote areas and in remote places, so that these are what we call off-grid supplies. And I think if we can be able to identify those and then put them into some state capitals to provide electricity from that, then our national grid can be able to supply to other areas. Remember, as today, the maximum supply transmission limit of the national grid is about 4 megawatts, and which is 4,000 megawatts, which 4,000 megawatts is too small compared to the needs of Nigeria. And even the transmission lines did not go across all the country.
What amount of megawatts are ideal for Nigeria? And let me also ask you this, while the investors are still working out a modus operandi that will serve everyone,
yes,
what about liaising with state governments?
See, if we did not have a minimum of 10,000 megawatts of electricity in Nigeria today, we are still hungry. Let me tell you this. Yes. We are still hungry. And if we want to go into industrialization, we need up to 20,000 megawatts of electricity.
And we want to go into...
Yeah, so I think when people are talking about industrialization, some of us, the technical people, we find it very funny. How can you industrialize when you generate electricity from your local sources, the generators, the diesel and whatever? It's not sustainable, it's not cheap.
But bring us to a level playing field.
Yes.
Nigerians are interested. Perhaps the purchasing power is not there.
Yes.
So how can you
and
your commission be a bridge?
So
can you go statewide?
Yes, I think I agree with you. If you look at the Power Reform Act of 2005, how the former NEPA, Nigerian Electricity,
was
unbundled to Power Holding Company, and out of that, 11 distribution companies came in, about 6 transmission companies came out, and 6 generating companies came in, and then 1 transmission company. And during that time, there's what they call independent power projects. And I told those independent power projects aim at targeting people that can be able to generate electricity on their own. You remember Exxon has come in, Siemens have come in, Ajib has come in, the AFAM projects, you remember them. So they came up and they were building power plants and then integrating it into the national district. So those reforms by Olusegun Obasanjo could have gone a long way if we followed it up. And you remember during that time we have also started the issues of Niger Delta Power Holding and where the Niger Delta Power Holding Company is also building some electricity generating plants. So actually we have made efforts, and the policies of the government has tried to target generating more. But then when we were making those efforts, we did not put some vital elements. Our transmission capacity. Who will evacuate this electricity that you are generating? So if you generate any amount of megawatts you generate, it's like cooking food without having to serve the food to the people concerned. So we need to upgrade that. And also coming to the distribution, do you have a good distribution network? Two things happen in the distribution lines if you look at it. One, there must be this customer interface. Two, there must be this adequate and accurate charging of electricity. So metering system is very poor. Transformers and all this in various locations. It's very poor. And
how do you mean? Because government has said that everyone is supposed to have a prepaid meter, and I know efforts have been ongoing to make that available. So where's the gap?
No, the gap I am saying is unfortunate that the discourse did not meet up with the reform agenda of the power sector. If the distribution companies have met up that, everybody's supposed to have, because if you look at the year-to-year metering system and charging of electricity, it says that everybody is entitled to a meter. The reason is that if there is a meter to every house, and it's going to be free of charge, because in the year tariff, the meter price is also charged in the tariff. So you are supposed to get a meter from the distribution company free of charge, and then once you have the meter, then you are going to pay for what you consume. And I think that
the meter, yes, not everyone has meters, but that is not our biggest challenge.
Well, to start with, why am I looking at that as a challenge? The total investment in the power sector is recouped from the resources that the discos are generating.
Interesting.
And today I challenge the discos. There are discos that the transmission company and the generating companies are saying there is available electricity, take it. They don't want to take it.
Why?
Yeah, because they are saying that if we take it, we pay for it. And if we take it, we are not going to distribute, or we don't have capacity to distribute, or people are not paying back for the distribution. How can we recoup the money? It's like I said, give me so amount of electricity, I buy it from you, and then I distribute to the communities. I sell it to the communities, and I recoup my money. So if there is no buyer, how can I? So there is this gap.
But the buyers are there. The Nigerians are there.
There is need for electricity. But what I think we need to look at is, if you see carefully, in every community in Nigeria today, their transformers are overloaded.
Interesting. That's another dimension.
You need to open up those transformers. Then the transmission system to the communities. What I mean, the distribution system to the communities, like the lines and whatever, they are not efficient, and they are not modern, standard, and whatever. When people call meter 2, I said, is there no law enforcement that you people have meter 2 in your area? So these are things that the distribution company need to address.
Okay. On a final note, we do appreciate you identifying the different challenges, and it may look enormous or humongous from the layman's point of view, but we are elated to an extent that we have capable hands on deck who are listening and who, when necessary, will take the required action. Because recently we had the restructuring of some discos, Kanu, Kaduna, and Benin City. And little matter how they grumble, that had to be done for sanity to be brought to the system. What are your final words? One of our viewers is asking us, what is the way forward?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the way forward has started coming up. Number one, I have to appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari for this kind of reform he is taking on the discourse. I just mentioned some of the challenges of the discourse. Now, once we were able to reform the discourse and they are living up to their expectations, a lot of money will be generated from that, and then it will go back to recoup the investments of those that wants to come in, and that will attract more investors. There are already standby investors to build nuclear power plants, whether they are small or whether they are big. We have partners who are ready to come into Nigeria. We have started implementing IEA milestones, International Atomic Energy Agency milestones. We have passed milestone 1 and milestone 2, and those milestones are milestones that we have nuclear infrastructure. They are already on ground. And then also we have what we call expert missions who came in to look at our readiness, and they are giving Nigeria a pass mark. We have signed agreement with some countries and vendors of the nuclear power plants, and they are ready to come. So the next stage that we will now have is a stage that we can now finally get approval of the government to invite those interested vendors to come in so that we can discuss on the funding mechanism. Financing and contracting schemes are very important. Who is going to fund it? And if you are to fund yourself as an investor, how do you intend to recoup your investment over how many years, and how is Nigeria going to benefit from it? And I think these are the way forward, and the federal government is giving us support in doing that. If not because of the crisis of Russia and Ukraine that we have all over the world now, we could have gone far, because we have already had joint coordination committee for the development of nuclear power plants, and the coordination committee has already met and they discussed, and we have identified the regulatory requirement, the legal requirement, the financial requirement, the technical requirement, the designs, the type of reactors we want, and the type of facilities,
and all of that,
and where we are going to site them. So all this we have done. So we are just on a hold, but I'm assuring you very soon, if the stability of the world has come to pass, then we can be able to see
you make a move forward very swiftly, because all the plans are ready on paper. It's our hope that global peace is within reach, because it impacts us very seriously at this time, and we impacts us in terms of nuclear energy, and that is what we want, what we desire, and what we need for industrial growth and productivity. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, Yusuf Ahmed, Chairman, CEO, Nigerian Atomic Energy Commission.
Thank you very much.
Nuclear now makes clear sense, and Nigerians have been listening and sending in messages. They say you must fast track all those plans and get us on board as soon as possible. It has been a pleasure having your company on Weekend Deal. But the great news is that we're on again tomorrow, still bringing more information about alternate sources of electricity in Nigeria. We do urge you to join us again then. From all of us here, it's bye-bye.